When it comes to automotive success stories, it's pretty fair to say that X never really did mark the spot for the Mercedes-Benz X-Class, which ended production in May this year, less than 3 years after being launched. It's a pity really, as it's not a bad ute, especially with the 3-litre V6 under the bonnet. And now, with some pretty sharp Runout pricing on the table, it's not a bad deal either. So with this officially the last chance you've got to buy one, has the X-Class finally got the X factor that you need?
The concept was strong. Take a shortcut to market by joining forces with an experienced player. Add a solid dose of Mercedes-Benz premiumness, throw in a decent engine, and presto, a 4x4 pickup that is as much at home in the Highlands as it is on the high street.
Except it didn't quite work out like that. When the X-Class landed locally in April 2018, comparisons made to the development partner Nissan Navara couldn't help be made. But despite Mercedes claiming that nearly every component on their ute had been tweaked by German engineers, the most important component, the 4-cylinder turbo diesel engines, were a near direct carryover. It didn't matter that the X looked and felt like a Benz, it didn't drive like one. Things changed, however, when this car, the X350d, arrived.
Under here is a Mercedes-sourced 3-litre turbo diesel V6. It's the same unit as found in the Sprinter van and the previous generation GLE 350d. With 190 kilowatts and 550 newton metres available, it sits near the top of the output tree in the 4x4 ute market, with just the Volkswagen Amarok 580 pipping it in the torque stakes.
Like the Volkswagen too, the X350 has a constant 4-wheel drive system with variable torque split and has a Mercedes 7-speed automatic transmission with low range. So all good on the hardware front. But while we're really here, is to talk price.
The X350d Power, like our car, lists at a bit over $79,000 before options and on-road costs. Tick a few boxes to add metallic paint, a tub liner, or maybe a tow bar, and that price starts creeping up. So much so that it wasn't hard to pay about 90 grand or more for one of these.
And well, that's a lot. But as part of the X-Class's final Runout pricing, you can safely shave 25 to 30% off that, meaning you can drive away in a V6 Mercedes ute for a price that starts with a 6, which starts to make this thing look a whole lot more attractive.
It's a relatively ute ute too. There's just under 1600mm both in and across the tub, with 1215mm between the arches and 4 adjustable position tie-down points. There's around a 1-tonne payload too.
Under here is a modified version of the multi-link rear suspension from the Navara. There's coil springs and on the Mercedes, disc brakes. It's got a 30-degree approach angle and a 25-degree departure angle, which is not bad for off-road. Back seats. Yeah, look, it's not as roomy back here as a GLE or even many other utes, but you do get air vents, the cool slidey rear window, and curtain airbags. Well, up here, it's a tale of two cities. Above the line, you got a lovely Mercedes-Benz steering wheel, familiar instruments, an 8.4-inch infotainment screen with integrated navigation, a 360-degree camera, and DAB radio.
There's nice trim, dual-zone climate control, cool vents, sharp buttons. It's very Mercedes.
Below the line, sure, there's the command control interface, but very little else. The cup holder, is small and shallow. There's nowhere to put your phone and minimal other storage. And that shifter, a reminder that this is more Sprinter than S-Class. Even out here on these forest trails, you can feel the power of that great V6. There's no hesitation or sense of power lacking, even at moderate speeds. Peak power comes on at 3,400 RPM, or more importantly, peak torque is available from 1,400 to 3,200 RPM. really is great on these undulating trails, and even when you point the car at some steeper sections, it just takes it all in its stride.
You can change from the automatic standard drive mode to a high-range four-wheel drive, which alters the torque split to 30% front, 70% rear. Or there's even a low-range mode for full 50-50 distribution. There's a hill descent control function, as well as a rear diff lock to help with really tricky terrain.
If you need that little bit more control, you can set the car into off-road mode, which adjusts the gear shift timing and throttle sensitivity. Perfect for even slightly challenging terrain. It really is an impressive driveline.
Back on smoother surfaces, the V6 is just as sweet.
Now, Mercedes claim a combined fuel consumption cycle of 8.8 litres per 100 kilometres. We're seeing a little bit above that, but not too much. Regardless, the V6 is really versatile. It can be lazy and relaxed one minute and then roll up its sleeves for effortless overtaking the next. The seats are good, they're heated and power adjustable, and the ride is pretty comfortable. Granted, it's not as good as an SUV, especially a Mercedes one, but the coil spring setup makes it more compliant than most. It does tend to move around a little bit on the road, but generally feels planted and pretty comfortable. Certainly good for touring. Now, you do get a lane departure warning system, but no lane keep assistant. There's no adaptive cruise control. There's actually no cruise control with braking, which I think's a bit of a serious omission. The gearbox, it's pretty good, certainly when you're on the move, but it can be a little bit sharp as you brake and it downshifts to a stop. But it is a ute, so all of that is kind of expected. We just wanted it to be maybe a little bit better, considering it's got the Benz badge on the front. The idea was promising and the execution pretty good, especially in the V6, for what is essentially a first-generation car. But the amount of money and time and resource required to continually develop that so it can keep up with and arguably exceed the capability and quality of its competitors for what would amount to small sales in niche markets, it just doesn't make sense. But don't let that take anything away from what is a good car now at an attractive price. So if you've always fancied a rare and unique Mercedes that can tow, carry, and basically go wherever you want, well, now's your chance. As always, if you've enjoyed this clip, don't forget to hit subscribe and click the bell icon so you receive a notification every time we publish a new video. Questions, comments, queries, hit us up below, ask us anything, and we'll get back to you.